What's poppin', homies? It's your favorite homegirl gospel. Let's get into this commentary. Hey, homies. So before I start my commentary about the events that happened in Brooklyn, I want to say, I send my prayers out to everyone that was a victim of the subway shooting in Brooklyn, in Sunset Park. I want to send my prayers to those who didn't get hurt, but who are shooken up because of what happened today in that subway station. Let me tell you guys something. When you are riding in the mass transit system, when you are riding the trains, when you're in the subway, there's basically no way out. Okay? Especially if you are in the car of a train and something like this happened, you're going to have a hard time getting out. And I can only imagine how scared those people were in that train station, because I would have lost my mind. When I saw the video this morning, I could not believe it. I was like, what is going on? I was getting emails. I was getting text messages. I was getting messages on Instagram. There's something going on in Brooklyn. What's going on? Are you okay? Are your family? And then I'm checking on people. Are you okay? I'll go on Facebook, because I never really go on Facebook. But I go on Facebook and I log in and I see people got a checkpoint. They're okay. And my friends are okay. So that's how I know they're okay. My family is okay. They don't really use that line, but still, you just never know. And so today in my live, there was a young lady named Indigo. She hadn't heard from her son. So we was on the line until we heard from him. And I'm so glad she heard from her son, because even though our children are grown, you still want to make sure they're okay. And he left to go to work. And that's the line that he takes to go to work. So she was, really on edge. And I don't blame her, because I would have been too. My son works for transit. So I was worried. So when I heard that he didn't go to work, I was relieved. Okay. My kids, my other kids that lived there, they wasn't near that train station, and neither was my other family members. So I was relieved. But for this to happen, it was planned. This was premeditated. This just wasn't no spur of the moment type of thing. This was premeditated. Now, they were saying that it's a black guy. They do have a person of interest, and he is a black guy. But my thing is this. How did they know he was a black guy? He had on a gas mask. He had on a gray hoodie. They say he had on an orange vest, and then they changed it and say he had on a green vest. So how did they know he was black? Was his hand showing? You know what I'm saying? Because he threw smoke bombs in there. And so when smoke is like that, you can't really see. What I saw today on the video of what happened in that train station, it was just an overwhelming feeling that came over me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, New York City, we went through 9/11 years ago. You know what I'm saying? We went through bombs being in the garbage of Times Square and all this. We went through a lot of stuff. And now this. Let me tell you something. The subway is the worst place for anything to happen, because you can't get out. You can't get out. So I'm going to get into this article, and then we're going to talk about it some more. But I did go live this afternoon, and I was talking about it, and it's just a lot. It's just a lot. Now, they do have a picture of the person, okay? So we're going to get into what happened and how this all started. Okay, so just before 8:30 a.m. Tuesday, which is today, the Fire Department of New York, which is the FDNY, received a report of smoke at 36th Street subway station in Brooklyn's Sunset Park neighborhood, according to the FDNY. When the first responders arrived, they found multiple gunshot victims throughout the subway station and others who were injured in the chaos. Now, FDN initially reported finding several undetonated devices in the station, but the New York NYPD, I'm going to cut it short, NYPD later provided an update that there were no active explosives devices at this time. Now, the Manhattan-bound N train was pulling into 36th Street Station when the shooting began. Now, the NYPD police commissioner said in a news briefing today, on today. Now, Keishant said a man in one of the train cars was wearing a gas mask when he opened a canister, releasing smoke into the car and started shooting, leaving 10 commuters with gunshot wounds and several others injured. 5 of the people shot were critical but stable condition following the attack, and none of the injuries were life-threatening. Thank God for that. Thank God there's no fatalities, authorities had said. Now, 6 other people were injured due to smoke inhalation and ensuing panic. So, can you imagine? Can you imagine? You on the train and someone just starts opening smoke bombs and they just started spraying bullets. Could you imagine how I'm just getting anxiety just thinking about it. 2 law enforcement officials told CNN a gun was recovered in the subway station. Now, when I was on my live, I said it's going to take some time for them to find this guy, because what he's going to do is, in the midst of all this chaos, depending on how he came into the train station, he is going to dump that gun, get rid of it, and dump the clothes and get rid of it, and he's going to walk up out of there as if he is one of the victims or he's part of the chaos that was in the train station. And I say he's going to leave his guns behind and his clothing behind. And what I'm reading right now, they found a gun in the subway station. So investigators have also recovered multiple high-capacity magazines from the scene, 3 law enforcement officials said. Fireworks and gunpowder was also found, according to 2 law enforcement sources. Now, the hunt for the shooter is still underway, but they do have a picture of him and they do have his name out there, okay, the person of interest. The gunman has still not been found, though investigators have identified the suspect after finding a credit card at the scene used to rent a U-Haul van connecting to the shooting. 2 law enforcement sources told CNN authorities have not released the suspect's name. Now, they did release his name because his name is Frank something, and I'll get into that afterwards. Now, the police commissioner described the suspect as a black male with a heavy build, dressed in a green construction vest and a hooded gray sweatshirt. Okay. So, let's see what's going on with the cameras. A preliminary review indicates there may have been a malfunction with the camera system in the subway station at the time of the attack. Okay, now see, earlier there was a police officer that was asking people to call 911 because his radio wasn't working. And now the cameras are not working, so they couldn't really see what was going on down there. Come on, you gotta have this stuff working. These cameras need to be working in the subway system. They need to be working in the train stations, on the streets, everywhere. Because if it was working, they probably could get more information using that camera. Oh. Though he said investigators are still determining to whether the malfunction occurred throughout the entire station or just with one camera. Now, following the attack, New York City investigators were also looking for a U-Haul van with Arizona plates, allegedly connected to the incident, according to the internal NYPD emails that was viewed by the news station. Though the emails do not spell out how the van is connected to the shooting. The truck was found in Brooklyn. 2 law enforcement officials tell the news station a bomb squad is at the scene. U-Haul said is working with authorities, which is good. Investigators have cell phone video from eyewitnesses showing the suspect, a law enforcement source told CNN. So, does that mean that somebody got a video of him while all this was happening? The FBI is working with the NYPD to follow every lead, according to Michael J. Driscoll. Now, he added that he expects evidence collection and investigation to take some time. Investigators are not labeling the attack as terrorism. The motive of the shooter is still unclear. So they're not linking this to any terrorism, but the motive of all of this is still unclear. So, oh my goodness, it's just some pictures you will see in my commentary that I can share, but some of these pictures are too graphic, and I cannot share these on here because, honey, YouTube would take down my we will take down my channel probably, and I'm not trying to go through all of that. So they got the picture up here of the person of interest, and you're going to see that, in my commentary. Now, he is ID'd. Update. Frank R. James is ID'd as the person of interest in Brooklyn subway shooting, made threatening online rants. Okay. He is 62 years old. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this one. A 62-year-old man who railed against Mayor Adams and made bizarre threatening rants on YouTube has been identified as a person of interest in the savage Brooklyn subway attack that injured at least 29 people Tuesday morning. Now, Frank James, who warned last month that he was entering the danger zone, rented a U-Haul van tied to the N-train attack in Sunset Park. He is being sought for questioning. Mr. Mayor, I'm a victim of your mental health program, James said in one lengthy video. I'm 63 now, full of hate, full of anger, and full of bitterness. He also criticized the mayor for not doing more to combat homelessness. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you was in my live earlier today, you will know that we was having conversations about this, that somebody had it out for Mayor Adams. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure who it was, if it was Shauna or Shay or Indigo, but it was some people that was in my live, and we was talking about the situation, and someone said it's a motive behind this, and the person probably has it out for Mayor Adams, because once Mayor Adams became into this, became the mayor of New York, all hell has broke loose, and this person probably has a vendetta against Mayor Adams. And what I'm reading right now, he is upset and he is mad at Mayor Adams. Eric Adams, what are you doing, brother? What's happening with this homeless situation, he said while referring to the subway. Every car I went to was loaded with homeless people. It was so bad I couldn't even stand. I had to keep moving from car to car. The NYPD said they were increasing security for Mayor Adams after police discovered the videos. James said in the videos that he had been diagnosed mental illness and railed against what he called the horror show of the city's mental health services. What's going on in that place is violence, he said about a facility he claimed to receive care from. Not physical violence, he explained, but the kind of violence a child experiences in grade school that would make him go and get a gun and start shooting MFers. Whoa, the person of interest ranted about race issues and claimed that Russia's invasion of Ukraine was proof that black people were treated with disdain in society. These white MFers, this is what they do, he said. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they kill and commit genocide against each other. What do you think they're going to do to your black ASS? Oh my gosh. In his rambling conspiracy theory, James claimed that a race war will follow the ongoing conflict in Europe. It is just a matter of time before these white MFers decide, hey, listen, enough is enough. These niggers got to go, he said. And what are you going to do? You're going to fight, and guess what? You're going to die. Because unlike President Zelensky over in Ukraine, nobody has your back. The whole world is against you, and you're against, my goodness, and you're against your effing self. So why should you be alive again is the effing question. Wow. Why should a N-word be alive on this planet besides to pick cotton or chop sugarcane or tobacco? Oh boy, he is on a serious rant here. He does have some pent up anger. The only options James could find, he claimed, was to commit more violence or become a criminal. And so the message to me is, I should have gotten a gun and just start shooting MFers, he said. Or should I have gotten some dope and started shooting or start hitting bitchs in the head, robbing old ladies? You know what the F it is. Wow. The key to James was found at the scene of the crime, as was a credit card that rented the vehicle out of Philadelphia, cops and law enforcement said. Cops believe that James was living out of the U-Haul van because his clothing and personal care products were inside. It is unclear if James is the suspected gunman, department said. Now, he could be the gunman, or he could be doing all of this to be a distraction to let somebody else get away. You just never know. You just never know with this type of stuff. You just never know. Now, the gunman had been on the run for hours before the police uncovered a crucial clue. The van, which had Arizona plates and was located on West 3rd Street near Kings Highway, late Tuesday afternoon. Now, the police have launched a massive manhunt for the shooter and revealed that surveillance cameras at Sunset Park Station were not working at the time of the assault. Law enforcement sources told the Post that the cameras tend to go out from time to time. And this was not the time for those cameras to be going out. Okay, so the suspect is 5'5", okay? He's with a heavy build, and he's about 170 pounds. He was wearing a gas mask, an orange and green construction type vest, neon green work helmet, and a hooded gray sweatshirt at the time. So this man was disguised as a construction worker. As a MTA worker, construction worker. If they work on the tracks, or a regular construction worker. That's how he was disguised. Now, at least one witness says she mistook the attacker for an MTA worker, because MTA workers who work on the track or work on the trains, they do dress like that. So he was dressed like a worker, and that's how he was able to get in, and that's how he was able to get away. Now, in an email earlier in the day to the entire police patrol force, cops have been ordered to keep their eyes peeled for the U-Haul and mark down its location and license plates. Okay. Now, during an evening press briefing, the commissioner said that among the items recovered by cops at the scene were a 9mm handgun, a hatchet, gasoline, and consumer-grade fireworks. And that is all coming from this article that I just pulled up just now. So I'm giving you information from two articles. But like I said, he's going to get caught sooner or later. Where he's at now, we don't know. But this is what the suspect looks like. In the picture you see in my commentary, he's 5'5", 170 pounds. He was dressed like an MTA worker, and he's still out there. So you guys be careful. If you was doing that commute, My prayers are to you. People want to need some type of counseling. They're going to be scared to ride trains because this type of thing will have you shook up for not only days, but for months and years to come. And it can become a fear of riding the train. Okay, people can now have anxiety attacks while riding the train because they don't know what's going on. Okay, so today was a very overwhelming day because this stuff was everywhere, and I'm like, oh my God, an attack on a train. So as you heard, Frank James, he had a lot of anger issues towards Mayor Eric Adams. And like I said in our our live stream, we was talking about that. And it just seems like, wow, some of the things that we were saying earlier are now being said now. Like I told them, the only way he's going to get up out of there without anybody noticing him was to take off his stuff. He's going to have to leave his guns behind and whatever he had behind. And they found it in the subway station. And he's going to act like he's part of the crowd of the chaotic scene. And that's how he's going to get away. And that's how he did get away. So will they find him? Who knows? It's only a matter of time. But I do hope they catch him. So they do have a person of interest. They do have a picture out there. So it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. All right, you guys. That's all I have right now. If I get any more updates, I will be sure to let you know what is going on. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening.